Good day everyone. Before we start, let me introduce myself. I am Edna Riwinti de la Cruz, a forester by profession, and I am currently working at the City Environment and Natural Resources Office. So, our topic for today is entitled Climate Smart City Strategies for Sustainable and Resilient Communities. The objective of this seminar is for us to be able to understand the basic concepts of climate change mitigation and adaptation strategies and the shared responsibility of each of us in our community. For the outline, I will be defining some environmental terms. Second, I will discuss climate change in general, and then the legal and policy frameworks in terms of the environment sector. We'll also be giving some examples of climate change mitigation and adaptation strategies, how we mainstream climate change in LGUs, and lastly, our key takeaways. Okay, so let's begin. Let's define some terms. Siyempre, una yung environment or kapaligiran in Tagalog. So, it is the abiotic component, meaning ito yung mga non-living things like air, water, and soil. It also encompasses ecosystems, biodiversity, and the interactions among organisms and their surroundings. So, basically, this is our immediate surroundings. So, second is natural resources or likas na yaman. This refers specifically to the materials and substances found in nature that humans use for their benefit. For example, water, forest, wildlife, fossil fuels or energy, fruits, vegetables, etc. So, energy is also categorized as renewable and non-renewable like fossil fuels. So, renewable is sunlight and wind. Next is environmental sustainability. It is the equitable sharing of resources for the present and future generation. So, the keyword here is equitable, meaning kung ano lang yung kailangan, yun lang yung kukunin at gagamitin para meron pang matira dun sa future generation. So, para masabi na sustainable yung environment, kailangan balanced yung three pillars niya with it, which is environment, economic, and social equity. So, next naman is the difference between weather and climate. So, weather is short term and climate is long term. Weather is what you get and climate is what you expect. For example, pupunta ka ng Baguio and syempre, in-expect mo sa Baguio, malamig doon. So, yun yung climatic type ng Baguio. Whereas, weather is, for example, papasok ka ng office, paglabas mo, either maulan, mainit, or malamig. So, it is what you get on a daily basis. So, lastly, climate change. According to the United Nations Framework Convention on Climate Change, it is a condition attributed directly or indirectly to human activity that alters the composition of global atmosphere and which is, in addition to natural climate variability observed over comparable time periods. So, yung nararanasan natin na climate change ngayon is dahil siya sa human activity and we can compare the climate for the 1800s, the 1900s, and the 2000s. So, to further discuss about climate change, actually, yung climate change is a natural phenomenon dito sa Earth. It can be because of tectonic shifts, volcanic eruptions, and solar irradiance. So, for example, nagkaroon ng volcanic eruption, so magkakaroon ng ash sa sky. So, magiging hindi makakapasok yung sunlight. So, eventually, mag-shift yung climate, magiging mas malamig siya. And another example is nung ice age, 'di ba? Mas different na yung climate natin ngayon sa climate ng ice age. So, dapat millions of years bago magbago yung climate natin. Pero dahil nga sa anthropogenic causes or human activity, naranasan natin yung climate change ngayon dahil mataas yung ating global carbon emissions and nagde-decrease yung mga carbon sinks natin dahil sa deforestation and land conversion. So, ano-ano ba yung mga anthropogenic causes ng climate change? So, isang example is yung pagtatapon ng basura sa hindi tamang tapunan. ito ay isang indirect cause ng climate change since kapag hindi na-manage ng maayos yung solid waste natin, nag-release siya ng methane. Second is yung mga factories kapag hindi sila sumusunod sa Clean Air Act. And third, ito sa communities natin, yung pagsusunog pa rin ng basura. Because of those anthropogenic causes or human activity, ito naman yung mga global impacts ng climate change. So, our polar ice caps are melting, we have extreme typhoons, extreme heat, drought, flooding, and forest fires. In the local context naman, syempre yung alam na alam nating lahat, flooding, and ganun din, extreme typhoons, grass fires, kasi wala naman tayong forest na dito, extreme heat, and poor water supply. And so we have defined climate change, yung causes niya and yung impact niya on a global and local context. So ngayon naman, ano ba yung mga pwede natin gawin? So meron tayong tinatawag na mitigation and adaptation strategies. So, yung mitigation, it addresses the root cause, which is yung pag-lower ng greenhouse gas emissions. So, bakit ba natin kailangan pababain? Kasi yung greenhouse gases, para siyang blanket or kumot ng Earth. Yung heat na galing sa sun, natatrap siya ng mga greenhouse gases sa atmosphere. So, kailangan natin siyang pababain para hindi lalong uminit yung Earth. And then adaptation naman, it addresses the impacts of climate change. It focuses on vulnerability and building resilience. So on the next slides, I'll be discussing some examples of these strategies. Here are some examples of mitigation and adaptation strategies na pwede natin gawin. So for mitigation, sabi ko kanina, pag-lower ng greenhouse gas emission. So isang example niyan is active transport and low carbon transport, pagtangkilik sa mga electric vehicles or electric tricycles or pagbabike if kaya. Renewable energy, paggamit ng solar power and wind. And yan, waste reduction, waste management, and pagtatayo ng energy efficient buildings like pagsunod sa Green Building Code. So meron naman ding parehong mitigation and adaptation strategy like public engagement, pagtangkilik sa local produce and smart growth, meaning kasama yung environment sa pag-unlad ng isang community or ng isang city, hindi lang puro economic sector. And then, for the adaptation strategy, sabi ko nga, ito yung pag-address na ng mga impacts ng climate change like emergency management, pagtatayo ng climate resilient buildings, pag-prepare sa sea level rise, pag-prevent na wildfire or grass fires in our case, and of course, flood protection. So before ko i-discuss yung mga mitigation strategies and adaptation strategies, ano muna ba yung legal and policy framework or basis ng mga programs, projects, and activities natin? So first, of course, is the Philippine Constitution, Article 2, Section 16. Yan yung basis ng lahat ng environmental policies. RA 9003 or the Ecological Solid Waste Management Act, Philippine Clean Air Act, Philippine Clean Water Act, the Extended Producer Responsibility Law or the EPR Law, which supplements RA 9003. Meron din tayong mga local ordinances like City Ordinance number 3B noong 2013, which is our environmental code. Nandyan lahat ng policies and fines and penalties tungkol sa environment. City Ordinance number 10 noong 2018 or yung ating plastic ordinance na nagbabawal sa paggamit ng single-use plastic sa lahat ng dry goods. Pwede lang siyang gamitin sa wet goods like mga ulam, food, and fish, meat. Yan. So, next is meron tayong City Ordinance number 12B noong 2024, which is our Binyan Comprehensive Waste Management and Recycling Ordinance na authored by our City Mayor. And ito, meron tayong National Solid Waste Management Commission Resolution number 1363 series of 2020, which is the ban on the unnecessary single-use plastics on NGAs, LGUs, and GOCCs. So, ito yung basis actually nung nung memo sa atin na pinagbabawalan tayong gumamit ng PET bottles sa ating mga offices. And actually, hindi lang PET bottles, bawal din, based dito sa resolution, yung mga single-use na fork, coffee stirrers, spoons, and straws. We also have local plans that integrates climate change mitigation and adaptation strategies. Of course, yung ating comprehensive land use plan, comprehensive development plan, local climate change action plan, LDRRMP, SWMP, AIP, and LDIP. For the climate change mitigation strategies, of course, yung unang-una dyan is solid waste management. So, kailangan nating mag-segregate ng waste, mag-compost, and yung ating compliance dun sa ating no open burning policy. So, ito, syempre, paano tayo mag-segregate kung hindi natin alam yung 4 na type ng waste? So, ito based to sa waste analysis and characterization study ng NSWMC and ng DENR. So, meron tayo dyang biodegradable, recyclable, residual, and special waste. So, ito, alam ko, review na lang to sa inyo, pero ito yung ating 4 types of waste. So, una, yung biodegradable waste, yung mga pwede nating gawing compost, like dry waste, wet waste, and nitrogen-rich waste. Then, yung ating mga recyclable. So, ito yung lahat ng pwede nating mabenta sa junk shops, like paper, different kinds of plastics, glass, and metals. Next is yung mga residual waste. So, meron siyang dalawang klase, residuals with potential for recycling and residuals for disposal. So, dati, yung mga residual, lahat yan sa sanitary landfill na napupunta. Pero dahil may mga technologies na tayo ngayon, pwede na nating i-recycle yung mga hindi na-recycle dati. Like yung mga sachets, mga flexible na plastic, tarpaulins, and straws. So, kagaya nga ng ginagawa natin sa ating CTMRF, hinahalo natin siya sa bricks, ginagawang plastic lumber. So, yun namang residual for disposal, ito yung mga hindi na talaga pwedeng ma-recycle, like mga sanitary napkins, mga food-contaminated papers, and cigarette butts, toilet paper, yan, mga ganyan. Lastly is yung ating special waste. So, yung special waste, meron siyang tatlo, hazardous waste, healthcare waste, and bulky waste. So, yung hazardous waste, kasama dito yung ating mga gadgets, mga dry cell batteries, mga lalagyanan ng mga panglinis. So, dapat pala yun, sinasegregate natin and tinatapon natin sa tamang lagayan. So, kung napapansin nyo sa lobby, meron tayo dong nilagyan ng mga electronic waste. So, next is yung healthcare waste. So, alam naman natin na hazardous yun. Yung mga galing sa ospital. And then, lastly is yung bulky waste or yung mga construction waste natin na kailangan meron tayong hauler kung magpapademolish or magpapagawa man tayo ng bahay. So, dito, gusto ko lang i-highlight yung solid waste management hierarchy. Kasi, di ba lagi nating naririnig is yung 3 R's lang, which is reduce, reuse, and recycle. Pero, ang una pala dapat natin ginagawa is pag-avoid or yung pag-iwas sa pag-generate ng basura. So, next is yung sustainable transport. So, public transport improvements. So, kapag maganda yung ating public transportation, mas maiengganyo yung mga tao na mag-commute imbis na magdala ng sariling sasakyan. So, less emissions. And then, yung paggagawa ng mga bike lanes. So, bukod sa healthy to, nakakatulong pa tayo sa environment. And then, yung pag-shift sa electric vehicles. So, di ba ngayon, kapag electric yung vehicles, exempted siya sa coding kasi talagang ini-encourage na ng Department of Energy yung pag-shift sa electric vehicles. Next is paggamit ng sustainable energy, like paggamit ng solar streetlights and solar panels sa buildings, pag-invest sa energy-efficient appliances na upfront, malaki yung cost, pero in the long run, mas makakatipid ka kasi mas mababa yung bill mo sa kuryente. Pinaka-importante, syempre, pag-save ng energy pa rin sa bahay and sa office. Yan. So, ano-ano pa ba yung mga pwede natin gawin? Pag-switch to energy-efficient lighting. So, imbes na incandescent bulbs, gumamit tayo ng LED bulbs. Pag-set ng thermostat to an energy-saving temperature, like kung di naman kailangan na sobrang lamig, dun lang tayo sa tama lang, like 24 degrees, sabi nga dun sa executive order natin, di ba? Pag-ensure ng proper insulation and seal ng air leaks para hindi masyadong tumakbo yung motor ng mga aircon natin. Paggamit ng fans and natural ventilation kung di naman masyadong mainit. Pag-turn off ng lights and equipments kapag di natin ginagamit, and pag-unplug ng mga chargers and unused devices. So, last example ng climate change mitigation strategy is urban greening. So, dahil wala naman tayong forest land dito sa city, so pwede tayong mag-tree growing and urban gardening. Mayroon mga pinapamigay na seedlings yung City Agriculture Office, so pwede natin yung i-maximize and magtanim tayo sa mga idle lots. And then, pwede rin mag-establish and protect ng green spaces since yung mga trees natin, yun talaga yung carbon sink na nagsisequester ng carbon sa atmosphere. So, pumunta naman tayo sa climate change adaptation strategies. So, first is disaster risk reduction. So, ito, climate resilient infrastructures or yung pagtatayo nga ng mga green buildings natin. And then, operational early warning systems. Diba, kapag meron ng disaster like floods, earthquakes, meron tayong mga early warning system para maiwasan natin yung damages to life and property. And of course, yan, evacuation planning. Sana sumunod tayo sa mga evacuation plans ng ating CDRRMO. So, second is water resources management. So, syempre, kapag may extreme drought, limited lang yung supply ng tubig natin. So, pwede tayong mag-practice ng rainwater harvesting. So, hindi naman kailangan na meron tayong complicated system. Diba? Kailangan lang makaipon tayo ng tubig. So, pwede natin siyang gamitin pandilig, panglinis ng sasakyan or ng motor, pangbuhos sa toilet, and something like that para ma-conserve natin yung tubig. So, under the water resources management, meron tayong tinatawag na watershed protection. So, dito gusto ko lang i-highlight yung interconnection ng mga ecosystems natin. So, sa environment sector, ang management unit ay isang watershed. Hindi lang siya dahil nasa lowlands ako, dun lang ako may pakialam. Dapat buong watershed. Kasi, as you can see, interconnected lahat ng ginagawa natin when it comes to the environment, from the uplands, lowlands, coastal areas. So, 'di ba, yung oxygen na napoproduce ng forest sa uplands, umaabot yun sa atin. Hindi naman hanggang dun lang yun sa upland. Wala yung boundary. So, yun. Hindi nalilimit ng political boundary dapat yung management ng environment. So, for better visualization ng isang watershed, makikita nyo dyan kapag umulan, yung tubig is bababa siya from the upstream to the downstream municipality or city. So, dito sa Binyan, meron tayong tinatawag na Binyan Sub-Watershed Quality Management Area or Binyan Sub-WACMA na under ng Laguna Lake Development Authority or ng LLDA. So, ang upstream ng Binyan River is nasa Tagaytay and then pababa ng Silang, GMA, Carmona, Binyan, and San Pedro. So, in relation to climate change adaptation, so dapat yung management ng environment ay hindi lang sa Binyan, di ba? Dapat yung mga LGUs na yun ay nagko-collaborate para maging maayos yung ating environment. Lastly, for the adaptation strategies is the health and sanitation adaptation. So, dahil nga our climate is changing, maraming mga naglalabasang viruses and diseases, so dapat meron tayong disease surveillance. So, meron din dapat action plan kapag extreme na yung heat. And then, kapag may disaster sa mga evacuation center, dapat maayos yung pag-manage natin ng solid waste and liquid waste. So, paano naman natin mini-mainstream yung climate change sa LGU in the institutional aspect? So, Meron tayong local climate change expenditure tagging sa mga plans natin. Naka-integrate din ang climate change sa ating ISO, CLUP and CDP. Meron tayong mga local environmental policies. Gumagawa tayo ng mga awareness campaigns and community engagements. And meron ding cross-sectoral coordination kasi sabi ko nga kanina, multi-sectoral and interconnected lahat when it comes to the environment. Meron din tayong partnerships with the private sector like para sa mga CSR nila and dahil sa EPR law. And then, syempre, yung role ng barangays kasi sila talaga yung nasa frontline ng waste management. So, for the key takeaway, environmental protection and conservation is the responsibility of everyone. Sabi ko nga, hindi namin kaya ng kami lang. Essential talaga yung participation ng community at nating lahat. And yun, every small step we take can create a big impact on the environment. So, yung mga simple habits natin and yung mga simple steps na yun, malaking tulong na yun para sa pag-protect and pag-conserve ng environment and ultimately, pagbaba ng impact ng climate change sa atin and sa community kung saan tayo nakatira. So, for my last slide, I just want to share with you the latest picture of our home taken by the NASA astronauts from the Artemis 2 mission to the moon. So, I just want all of us to appreciate our only home for us to continue being good stewards of it. Thank you so much for listening. I hope you learned something today and good day everyone.